Hiya and welcome back to Moonlight Castle. The game that teaches us that... Clyde, just sit down. Clyde, just sit down. Take a juice box. Sit down. Let someone else handle it, because you're probably going to burn the entire fucking city down. Ah! Anyways, let's just hop right in. How do you feel? I don't know. I'm feeling so many things I can't explain it. I feel confused and annoyed, but also guilty. Am I upset? Let me tell you something, Joel. This stays between you and me, okay? Slowly I nodded, and the dragon put away his laptop so that he could pay his full attention to me. You're a very kind-hearted person, and it shows. I like how you always care about others, even the ones you just met. And you think that's bad? No, absolutely not. Quite the opposite. I apologize if my wording misled you. That wasn't the message I tried to convey. Even if my face was saying otherwise, I wasn't upset at him. Good deeds are seldom forgotten, though mistakes are bound to happen at times. Still, when such times arise, so long as the past deeds are remembered, everyone deserves forgiveness, and they shall receive it. That includes you too, Joel. His words cheered me up. To him, I must be like an open book. So... you think this won't ruin our friendship? What a silly beagle you are. I bicker with Blake all the time, yet we're still friends, aren't we? I'm sure nothing has changed, so please try to let it go. I took a deep breath. For me, it wasn't easy, but Clyde was trying his best to cheer me up, therefore I should try my best too. Are you done with your classes today? Yeah, my schedule for today is kind of empty. I'm pretty much already done. I have another meeting soon. I'm sorry I have to leave you, but you know how it is. I understand. I'm going then. Have a good day. Joel? The dragon tapped me on the shoulder as I turned around, and he was leaning in to face me up close. I could feel his whiskers touching my cheeks. Are you going to be fine? I can rearrange my appointments if you need help. You're already going to join us tonight. Wouldn't that complicate your schedule even more? Seemed he had a hard time trying to disagree with me, yet he forced out of himself a negative answer. Just a bit. Nothing unusual for me. Don't increase your workload for me. I'm fine, seriously. Are you sure? Do you mean it? I'm going to get mad if you lie to me. Oh my god. Yes, I'm sure you have more important things to... Clyde grabbed me by the shoulders and pulled me in for a hug. It was difficult for me to hide the embarrassment on my face, but the warmth was very comforting. There's nothing more important than making sure that our friends are okay. You understand that, don't you? Prez! Calling for Clyde, a voice came from the corridor, and it was followed by several knocks on the door, which was soon opened by the hasty visitor. Quickly, I broke free of Clyde's embrace and scared that someone would see us and get the wrong idea. It happened way too often, and I didn't like it very much. Yes, I'm here. A woman walked in, carrying a lofty tower of envelopes and barely keeping balance. Oh, no. As soon as Clyde saw that, he pulled me out of the way so that she could make it to his desk. What are those? I asked him as the lady dumped everything on his desk. Those are the worst nightmare council president has to face. I took a gulp and wondered what kind of insane tasks Clyde had to deal with. Love letters. I'm sorry. Without a word, I stared at him. What? Those ladies make it their mission to constantly write me letters about romances and fantasies. Only occasionally there are a few letters of complaint, but even then, they're mostly made up just so that they can get a chance to meet me in private. It's exhausting. I'm pretty sure that's something every council... I'm pretty sure that's not something every council president has to go through. He chuckled as if he thought I was joking, but I was serious about it. You silly dog, of course. Every council president has to deal with it. If you're in my position, you'd certainly receive them too. In disbelief, I just stared at the dragon. He saw the lack of expression on my face. He began to realize that I wasn't joking. Is this not the part where you say you were joking and then agree with me? I didn't answer him. He turned to look at his secretary, probably to get a sign of approval, but she didn't give it to him either. Promptly, she dodged Clyde's eyes and picked up a random document from the pile, pretending to read it. I think it's time for early tea. Hang on, I will be right back. And I'm back. I was gone for about a minute. What the ever-loving fuck did I come back to? He looked upset and I felt so sorry for him. I never expected he'd believe to receive an excessive amount of love letters was a normal occurrence for anyone. Can I help somehow? I'm afraid not. Regardless of the contents, these are still private letters. Therefore, no students outside the council are allowed to read them. However, if you ever consider joining the council, you'd be more than welcome. I rested my palm atop the side of my forehead, unsure of what to say. Joining the student council wasn't exactly something one could easily do without thinking it through first. It was an important decision that would totally affect my routine. I actually was part of a student council at one point. Here's what I have to say about student councils. They're fucking boring. I'll think about it. It's fine, you don't have to. There are tons of work here, and I, myself, wouldn't recommend you to join this council unless you had the right mindset. I'll be going then. Sorry. Clyde waved goodbye to me as I walked out. After I'd closed the door behind me, it took exactly one step of walking before I bumped my face into someone's chest. Oh my god, my man, I didn't see you! I was too busy panicking to recognize the person I ran into. All my mind was focused on was the fact that I was diving headfirst into a guy's fluffy chest. It was utterly embarrassing. If Hole asks, Ryan would give him 1,000 love letters. I'll give Ryan 1,000 love letters. My hat tilted to cover my face like a falling curtain. Yo, Joel, it's me. Casually, Patrice grabbed my hat and pulled it up along with my head, so that I looked at his face. He must have thought that I'd feel less embarrassed if I knew I bumped into a familiar face rather than a stranger, but actually didn't help me feel any better at all. Have you seen Dylan? We were supposed to meet for our daily training. Ryan dipped out on joining us, and I really wanted a partner. The latter part of his sentence got stuck in a loop in my head. My face was still leaning on his chest, and I could totally sense the smell of his sweat. Did he already leave? I figured he'd be here to help Clyde. I took a deep breath, trying to control myself before I had a chance to notice that I was having a breakdown. Yes, he was here, but he left a while ago. I wonder what happened. It's not like him to not show up when we already agreed to meet. Just as I'd calmed down, listening to Patrice made me realize that what I'd said to Dylan earlier did stick in the crocodile's mind. Do you know where he went? Maybe I should search the other floors. No, but I can help you! Help me search for him? Actually, I really didn't want to see Dylan right now. I had no idea what would happen if we met, and I was scared. No, not that! I caught myself saying that and regretted it. You wanted a partner to train with, right? I can help you with that! Patrice moved backward to get a better look at me. He was mumbling something under his breath the entire time he was evaluating my body. You look more like a nerdy type, and don't strike me as someone who exercised. Well, if you did, Ryan would have told me, and most likely dragged you along. I screamed internally. This tiger knew my childhood friend well, and the things he said were accurate. I wanted to start. I don't move much, and I thought I could use some training. Fine then, I'm not going to waste time looking for that ungrateful crocodile anymore. Come with me, I'll give you a beginner's lesson. I thought I was spared the moment I convinced the tiger, so I didn't pay much attention to what he was saying, and I was mostly looking for anything that just keep him busy. You're lucky I'm a gym trainer. I'll gladly make a program that works for you. Just show me what you can do. He winked at me, and that was when I realized I'd made a mistake. Go easy on me. It's been a long time since the last time I had serious exercise. No worries. I know exactly what we can try. I didn't know why, but the way he said that made me feel uneasy. Something about it just seemed a little off. He placed his arm around my neck and pulled me closer to him as we walked down the hallway. Okay, listen carefully now. I want you to answer truthfully what I'm about to ask you. I took a gulp as he was whispering into my ear. He was so close. Way too close. I hadn't forgotten what had just happened just a few moments ago, and now all I could feel was his breath rubbing against my neck. What's your ideal boyfriend like? Excuse me, Patrice! What the actual fuck? That is none of your fucking business. Not just personality-wise. I also want to know about the kind of body you're into. I blushed at the question. I thought he was going to ask something important or worse, confront me about how I was pretending to be interested in working out. I don't know. Ryan is a big dummy. He has muscles, but also lots of fat. Is he your type? I didn't want to continue the discussion, but my brain expanded on the things that he was saying to me. My mind trailing off into weird thoughts. I couldn't speak properly. You don't even know if I like boys. Patrice pulled himself away from me upon hearing that. Fuck! I assumed you were gay too. I was so sure that you were. I shushed him with a sudden noise that resembled half a cough and half a choke, trying to buy myself time to collect my thoughts. I am, but you're going too fast. My bad. I so bad want to give Patrice a Brandon Rogers voice. Like a voice-esque similar to that of Bryce from Brandon Rogers. Should I try that? See if it fits him?
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
I'm gonna try it. Let me know what you think of it. I can't help it, especially when I'm seeing someone this good looking. Or, I can't help it, especially when I'm seeing someone this good looking. Which voice? One or two? Okay. This tiger was too dangerous. He was such a smooth talker, and I was a sucker for compliments. Anyway, to answer your question, I have no preference. As long as he's a nice guy that makes me feel good, he's fine. I tugged my hat down out of shame for admitting such a thing. Aha! No running away! I'll stop if I'm making you uncomfortable. Slowly I peeked at him from inside my shell. My nose sprang up a little as I lifted my hat. You promise? Yes, I was only trying to get to know you better. It always works at the gym, but I guess introverts find it weird. You always do that to everyone? Most times, yeah. It works best when I'm taller than them. Part of me wanted to ask him if he was really able to pull it off on everyone, but I figured that I should avoid bringing Dylan into the conversation. Here we are. The yard is my favorite place to get our bodies going and our muscles sore. I took a step back into the hallway. He'd better correct himself. I'd be fine with the sweating, but I wouldn't say the same about getting sore. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. Patrice began to move around and showed me what to do, and I was simply following along. He never took his eyes off me. It seemed he was testing my stamina, speed, and endurance. I had a feeling that my performance wasn't exactly the only thing he was looking at, however I couldn't really prove it. You move quite fast for someone who doesn't exercise much, but your stamina's still lacking. Yeah, I think I can see that. Let's do some stretching. Do you know how? Don't force it if you feel any kind of pain. I tried to follow him, but I couldn't, as I wasn't flexible enough. He tried to help me by holding my body in place, but it still wasn't really going well. Don't get discouraged. This is your first time in years. Eventually, your body will wake up and we can slowly get you stronger. We? What do you mean? You should join us. Ryan would be thrilled to have you. We can customize a session just for you. I know exactly what we can try. I'd love to, but I'm not sure. I don't think I'll be able to keep up with you guys. Dude, trust me. I've done this job for a while. You aren't the first and won't be the last. I know exactly what will work best for you. I can't afford it though. Gyms can be pretty expensive, and the money I have right now goes to my groceries and medicines. Listen. My gym offers a 1-week free trial. If you like it, good. If you don't, then you can quit whenever. To me, that's a win-win. I'll think about it, okay? Sure, text me about it whenever. I'll try to get them to assign you to me. The training didn't last long. I got tired quickly, my body was definitely out of shape. Patrice was giving me most likely the easiest lesson he could give, yet I was almost dying. Truly, that was embarrassing. Don't be sad. Come here and rest with me under the shade. Patrice patted the grass next to him. He found us a comfortable spot under the tree. I crawled there and sat with him. It's quite nice. The breeze makes me feel better. It was a peaceful moment between him and me, a well-deserved rest after a tiring workout. I like to lie on the grass and watch the sky. It's a bit cloudy today. Can't see much. I like to watch the clouds move. I think it's relaxing. I could kind of understand making shapes out of the clouds, but just watching them move? That's new. He chuckled and placed his arms behind his head to use them as a pillow. I must be a special tiger then. Can I ask you something? Sure, what is it? I can't stop thinking about how different you are today from how you were the first time we met. How was I? Oh. I saw him struggle to come up with an answer. You know what I mean, right? You were so confident and strong just now. Opposite to how you were yesterday. It was just that supernatural bullshit. Those kinds of things really freak me out. You wouldn't understand. Did something happen to you? I mean, if you're comfortable sharing it. It's not a nice story. Want to hear it anyway? If you want to tell me about it, alright. I guess I'll just tell you the story. It happened when I was a kid. We were on our way back from the pool. It was just an ordinary summer. Oh my god! Thank you for the follow! Hiya, thank you for the follow! We were on our way back from the pool. It was just an ordinary summer day with my family, nothing special. I was told that a car hit us from the side. The impact was so hard that I lost consciousness the moment it happened. Hiya. I don't remember the details, but I do remember how the car looked afterward. I could feel the shift in his tone. His voice was shaky as he tried to put together his words. He was probably trying to keep his cool and appear casual, but I could see that it was difficult for him to do so. That's awful. God, I wasn't expecting that. Don't worry, neither my family nor I was injured. That's a relief. Yeah, at least my family didn't die. Patrice clenched his fists, his body tensing up. The brightness in his eyes was replaced with a sorrowful blight. Someone else did. I was silent. I didn't want to interrupt, and I was afraid that I might say something stupid. I woke up outside the car, and I was lying against a wall or something. I'm not sure if someone put me there or if I got there myself. Maybe the people who witnessed the crash helped me, but I don't remember it. The tiger took a deep breath. It was a sight that I'll never forget. I think time itself stopped so that I could burn the scene permanently into my memory. I put my hand on his chest, trying to get him to stop telling the story. I'd rather not know it if it meant making him go through his trauma again. I never wanted to relive those horrible memories, not like this. I didn't know what to do. I just froze there, scared as the blood poured everywhere and dyed everything red. Patrice wanted to scream, get up and run away, but it felt like my body had stopped working. That's enough! His eyes widened. It seemed he was beginning to snap out of it. Though, it appeared he didn't realize how much he'd been carried away by his story. Awkwardly, the tiger laughed it off. Too much? That's not the problem. I'm fine. It happened a long time ago, and I'm over it. Sorry I asked about it. I shouldn't have done that. But I agreed to tell it to you. I already share the story regularly anyway, because I have to explain my extreme reactions to people all the time. I frowned. The image of how distraught the tiger was just a moment ago still hadn't left my head. But what does it have to do with the occult? I'm not quite sure myself. I guess it just reminds me of the incident. Patrice sighed. He appeared to be upset and confused, probably because even he couldn't fully understand his problems. Have you tried consulting a professional? I have. It didn't work. I struggled to find something meaningful to say to him. Anyway. He broke the silence. You can move your hand off now. Unless you're trying to get a freebie of my pecs. I don't think I can answer that question. Ah! I'd forgotten that my hand was there. I pulled it away as fast as I could. Don't get me wrong, though. I appreciate the intimacy. I just don't like getting called a pervert for liking it. No, because I'd probably get banned. I was just trying to help you feel better. I didn't realize until later how I should have worded that differently. Oh, Joel. I know a lot of things you can do to help me feel better. He laughed and winked at me, and I just crawled away. You can't blame me for that one. Damn, sorry, I'll keep in mind not to be concerned about you from now on. Right, I get it. You could stop being sassy now. I wonder what Ryan would say. Yo, wait, let's talk about this. I muttered about snitching on the tiger, and now I was the one who was laughing. What are you bringing tonight? Spices. I have a collection and even grow a small garden. They're essential to a nutritionist and a gym trainer such as myself. Are they? I was doubting it, as it sounded like it was only something convenient he mentioned just to introduce a hobby of his. Maybe I got to see your garden one day. I stood up, wiping the dust off my clothes and prepared to head out. Wait, what about Ryan? You're not going to tell him, right? Maybe. It depends on your behavior. Made sure the tiger heard that, and I hummed as I headed toward the building. Someone still owes me a drink from yesterday. I was just trying to mess with him, like how he was messing with me, and I didn't think much of it. I entered the building, and I wasn't really paying attention to whether or not there was a reply from the tiger. There was still time before the meeting would happen. Therefore, I thought it was time to do the thing I'd been meaning to do, but had been pushing away for too long. As I kept pondering, I walked through the college building to get to the exit. Walking on the sidewalk, I looked at the number I was about to dial, and my finger refused to press the green button, no matter how much I wanted to just get it over with. I thought of the unfilled cabinets in my room. The pantry was ever so empty. It was difficult not to be reminded of such needs. After all, it was the fault of all of my friends who kept feeding me and caring for me too well, so much that I'd gotten used to it. I felt guilty having to rely on them. Wasn't that I just liked eating? In fact, I never liked to be starved, but that person was just so scary. Thinking of his voice, that alone killed my appetite. It was traumatizing each time I heard it, and just the thought that I might have to hear it again buried all the courage I mustered to call my mother. I sighed as I stared at the screen. Now was a good opportunity to call her. I'd avoided her for so long that I wanted to apologize. Eventually, I gave into the pressure. A call was made. It was taking so long to be picked up that I began to worry he'd be the one answering it instead of her. I readied my finger that was hovering over the red button. Joel! Relieved to hear was her voice, I put my mind and my mental energy to rest. Some dumb luck saved me this time, I thought. Is that you? She continued to speak, and she was pleading for my answer. My long exhale definitely made it through, but that shouldn't count as an answer. To give her a proper one. Hello? Sheepishly I replied. Sometimes talking to her could resemble treading on eggshells. Thank goodness you're okay. I was so worried when you stopped answering my calls. Yeah. I know. I thought about coming over to you, but he stopped me. He kept saying that you're an adult, and if you ever decide to leave, I'll have to let you go. But you're my son, and I can never let you out of my life, even if you cut me out of yours. Next time I'll be there. The idea of seeing her randomly showing up at my door terrified me. It was enough to push me to be more straightforward. Nope! That'd make things worse. Why, Joel? What's wrong? You should know that you can talk to me about anything. I'm worried. There's nothing wrong, at least not between us. I was trying to keep my composure, but all my words were shaky. Struggling to say what the problem was, I was frantic. She sighed and became less aggressive with her tone. I know there's something you want to tell me, but for some reason you can't. What am I supposed to do? Maybe you should come over and we can talk about it over a nice cup of tea. I can't. Otherwise I would have done it already. Exams? Yes. And I'm studying a lot for a project. So, can I safely assume the problem isn't school-related? No, it's not school-related. I'm doing fine. It's just a little stressful. What about your allowance? You disappeared so suddenly I couldn't give you money anymore. I could really use some right now. I don't like the sound of that. Have you been eating? Somewhat. I could use some groceries. Could you top up my card? She made yet another sign that guilt in me was growing stronger. Within the next few weeks, I want to meet up with you. I don't care if you have exams, are sick, or have friends over. I won't accept any excuse. You're not doing okay, and I'll have to see you through this. Understand? Yes, ma'am. The fuck? You couldn't hear it? My fucking sound, my fucking audio interface bugged out. You couldn't hear it? Yeah, you couldn't hear it because I have it set up to where you only hear the game. Yeah, you couldn't hear it, but like, it was like blasting in my ear. It's okay though. Yes, ma'am. I'm going out. Should be done in 10 minutes, but wait an extra 20 just to be sure. 50 is fine? Thanks, Mom. No, don't thank me. If you're really grateful, answer my calls. I'll try. I love you, Joel. Love you too, Mom. I almost want to just lie down on the sidewalk there. When the call ended, it felt as if a huge mountain had been lifted off my chest. Woo! And I got the money I needed in order to survive for a week or two. Though what bothered me now was her insistence on meeting up. I probably deserved that as I'd ignored her for so long. I considered texting her, but she'd have called me if I'd done that, and that would have been worse. I'll figure it out next week. I mumbled words to myself, one excuse after another, and continued to put off my problems. Seemed procrastination truly was my best way to deal with responsibilities. I resumed my walking and entered the mall while still trying to figure out what to do about my mother. On paper, it was simple. I just had to tell her the truth, say how I really felt, and address the biggest problem, which was the disgusting person next to her. In practice, though, I was scared that she wouldn't believe me. I'd been rejected before, so why would that change now? Letting out more sighs, I fetched myself a cart and entered the aisle. Everyone around me looked so happy, all the passers-by having a great time dining, shopping, or taking a leisurely walk. How I was jealous of them. Ultimately, I was able to move my eyes off them and focus on the task at hand, which was to buy food for myself. Looking at all the promotions and discounts, I browsed for the things that would last in my pantry as long as possible. However, unfortunately, the entire row was already bought up. I was too late. All the shelves were void of goods except one last box at the top. Come on. I stretched as much as I could as I was standing on the tip of my toes, shaking. My fingers touched the box, but there was no way I could pull it. You want the one up there, right? Let me get that for you. I turned myself around and saw Blake, who was curiously scanning me. His eyes were open, although it was only for a few seconds. Blake? Why are you here? Shouldn't you be at the campus? Wolf grabbed the cereal box and handed it over. I took the box from his hand reluctantly and dropped it in my cart. I was, but then Clyde requested some last-minute supplies, so I'm here. Though I didn't expect to see you. I managed to get some extra cash, so now I'm stocking up for the week. I'm glad to hear that Ryan won't have to worry now. True. Blake rested his big paw on my shoulder. The physical touch was kind of comforting as I was dealing with so many problems lately. Though, it was still a little too sudden for me, so I quickly set myself free from his touch. I wasn't sure if I was overreacting, but still, I'd rather be safe and make sure that others wouldn't get the wrong idea again. Is it okay if I come with you? We don't get to be on our own like this very often. Sure, I don't mind. I followed him to the next aisle to continue our browsing. How long have we known each other? I tapped him on the back as I said that, and we switched the lead. As I just remembered that there was something in another section that I needed to get, so now he was the one who was following me. 2 years? Whenever someone entered the school restroom and saw me, they'd immediately leave. Except you. You'd always stayed. I'm kind of twinning with Blake right now. Except for, like, the front of the hair. I don't have it spiked up. I just have it all pulled back into a bun. So I'm almost twinning with him. I took a glance at the contents of his cart. It was filled with bags of tea and sweets he'd gotten from the other aisle. I wondered if I was making him delay his task given by Clyde, but I hated the idea of being left alone with my thoughts. If I remember that, you'd ask me random things whenever I was peeing. I remember that. You'd ask me random things whenever I was peeing. Well, I thought it was interesting how you just answered them. I thought of it as a way to kill time. It wasn't like I couldn't move during my business. And we became friends. I'd say that was the best outcome. I grabbed some packages of milk and water as I thought back to the memories. And then we looked at each other. We don't do that anymore. That's because I don't need to catch you at the toilet in order to have a talk anymore. I chuckled. That was indeed an improvement. I miss the short conversations we used to have. They made my days a little better, back when I still didn't have anyone to talk to. Blake paused. He took a bit of time to ponder my words. Should I bring back the random questions? Wolf spoke again as he helped me pick up more food. Here's not the restroom, though, less secluded. Think you can handle it? Just ask already. He looked around briefly, and once he was sure that no one was nearby, he leaned closer to whisper in my ear. Are you gay? Right off the bat! Right off the bat! I almost jumped when he asked that question. Having moved away slightly, I shrugged it off with an awkward laugh. What? You're crazy. I'm pansexual, if that helps. Upon hearing that, I became less stressed and more curious. You are? The wolf chuckled and he bumped his fist on my shoulder. Ha! Got you. There's no way a heterosexual would know what that means. I puffed my cheeks at such generalizations. That's rude. Why wouldn't they? Well, they could, but it's more likely that they weren't straight if they knew what it meant. Pansexuality is difficult to explain to the masses, so most pansexuals think they're better off telling everyone they're gay or bi. That's only if they want to come out. I, however, prefer to keep that information to myself, and I'm sure most pansexuals also do the same. Most heterosexuals don't have to try so much to explore themselves and often lack the need to look up any of the labels, so it's unlikely that they find the term on their own. Therefore, unless someone explicitly told them, I doubt they'd know. But what if the masses actually know? Then good for them. It's important that they learn about the minorities. I guess that makes a little sense. It was irritating to me that his words were true, though. People should really try to learn more about the minorities. So, are you gay? He leaned forward, his upper body looming over me. Wolf seemed eager to know if he could pull me out of the closet. You won't hate me? Of course not. I was still hesitant about admitting the truth, even though it was already obvious at this point. And you won't think that I'm weird either? By that logic, I'd be weirder than you, and this isn't a competition. Nervously running my hand through the fur on the back of my neck, I sighed. It took all my mental energy just to give him a light nod as a response. I see. Hiya. I raised my chin to look at his eyes, but the lids were still covering them. I wondered if he even knew I was staring. Can I ask you something too? It must have been a hassle to answer all the things I threw at you. I'd say you deserve to hear what you want to hear from me too. There was one thing that I always wanted to ask him, but I'd been too shy to ever dare speak about it. Afraid it might upset him. Okay, here it comes. I took a gulp, trying to quell my anxiety. I've always wondered why you keep your eyes closed most of the time. I wish I hadn't said that, but there's no backing off now. Is your eyesight bad? Then, as if to prove something, the wolf slowly opened his eyes to the fullest. I'd seen those eyes only when he was looking at the sky or when he was mad at someone, but right now he didn't look angry. You always surprise me, you know? I wasn't used to seeing Blake with those eyes. He almost looked like a different person. Should I not have asked? The opposite, actually. To be honest, I usually get this question around the first week I get to know someone, but you never asked me about it, although we've known each other for quite some time now. I thought it might have been something private. I wasn't sure if bringing it up would hurt you. It wasn't like I needed to know it in order to consider you one of my friends. I'll think about it. Wolf leaped at me. My vision darkened for a moment, then I realized that my face was buried in his fur. He was squeezing me in a hug. That's the nicest thing someone's ever said to me. Thank you. And then a second after that, he pulled himself back hastily. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that. What you just said really touched me. I hope I didn't cross the line. It's fine, I'm fine. Though, maybe warn me about it next time. I'll keep that in mind. Felt kind of nice, actually, and I was a little disappointed that it ended so fast. Got everything you needed? I'll answer your question on the way back. Light is going to get mad if I don't stick to his schedule. Tried to picture in my head the frowning face of the council presidents, and I ended up frowning myself. Couldn't imagine that a guy like him would be able to express such emotions. Just thought alone felt foreign to me. Have you seen him mad? No, though I've seen his not mad, just disappointed face, and it feels like being scolded by a mother. Both of us let out a chuckle, and soon I finished my grocery shopping. We walked out of the building together afterward. Then we made a stop on the sidewalk in front of the mall in order to talk with each other. I need to bring these home before the meeting. We'll have to part ways here. You can stop stalling now. That's unfortunate. Spending time with you was just so relaxing. Time goes too fast. He sat on a bench that was nearby and he invited me to join him so that he could tell me the answer I'd been waiting for. I have trouble sleeping. They told me years ago that it was insomnia, but I haven't gotten back to check it again. That explains those baggy eyes you have. Do you take any medicine? Yes, sometimes. Try not to abuse it, but it's not that simple. Is that why you always keep your eyes closed? It's a lack of sleep. I'm so tired that I can't keep my eyes open, so I let them rest unless I really have to use them. My sense of smell and hearing ended up improving since I rely on so much on them to know my surroundings. You made it sound cool, and you shouldn't have. We depend too much on our eyesight. I think it's cool that I can tell who it is just by listening to their footsteps. Okay, that's cool and all, but don't you still have trouble sleeping? You look tired all the time. It's manageable. I feel both tired and not tired at the same time. One eventually gets used to it. Any idea of the cause of it? He paused. His tired look was never too obvious to me, but now that he told me about it, I couldn't help noticing it all the time. He looked at the sky, and his eyes were fully opened, once again. I don't know. I think maybe it's just meant to be. I'm fine with how things currently are. I raised a brow at him. What he said didn't make any sense to me. I'd think that someone who was born with such a condition wouldn't find themselves able to put up with it well. Do you like it? Oh, of course not. What kind of question is that? Then you're not fine with it. Are you trying to sugarcoat the fact that you're in pain? Please don't lie to me. Blake went silent. Slowly, he got up from the seat and pulled out a cigarette from his pocket. It's complicated. I didn't lie, but what you said isn't wrong either. Wolf then started to march, likely on his way back to Clyde. Blake! He came to a halt upon hearing me call his name. Cole was so real for this. Oh no. He turned around and his eyes were half hiding behind his lids, much like my face under my hat most times. Why don't we play this game some other time? I'll ask you a question, you answer truthfully, and then get to ask me something too. It was fun, got me thinking. How he downplayed the problem, treating it as some game, pissed me off. Stood up and yelled after him. Fine! Next time we hang out, I'll get you to admit how you really feel. He grinned. Ah, yes, I love that energy. Maybe one day I'll ask you to pose for a drawing, who knows? Later, Joel. Blake waved as he walked away, and I kept staring at him until the crowd eventually hid him from my sight. I grabbed my grocery bags and hurried home. The time of our appointment was fast approaching and I was being way too slow. Thankfully, my apartment was near all the places that I needed to be. Hang on, let me pose. Okay, seeing my pantry filled with actual food brightened my mood a little. All that work seemed to pay off now and it was quite rewarding. I took a glance at my computer and skimmed the messages that I hadn't read, but it seemed that nothing important had happened. Our plans remained unchanged. I took a moment to rest up and charge up my phone before I headed out to Russell's. I wanted to arrive early and wait
It's
for the others
time to
to join
drink
me.
water.
This could be my chance to
It's
take a
time
closer
to
look at
drink
Russell's
water.
job and see the bull in action with no interruption.
It's
He
time
didn't share
to
much
drink
about his life,
water.
so I was hoping to catch a glimpse of it by myself.
It's time to drink water.
I wasn't sure what I was expecting to see upon arriving at the shop, however. The sight I had surely left me with a taste of disappointment. The bull was serving drinks to a couple of elders in the corner. Two elders were playing cards with one another, and there was no sign of any other tables being used. Was the place really doing well as much as Russell had claimed that it was? I thought about it for a while before I managed to shake it off my head and sit myself in my usual spot. The counter was the only thing separating me and him. You were the first to come. I didn't have many classes today. Russell! An unfamiliar voice whispered from the back, causing the bull to immediately turn around. What are you doing here? You should be resting still. I heard the owner of that new voice coughing, trying to speak, and Russell sounded worried. The bull pushed the other person back inside the room and followed him in. No, yes, maybe next time. Yes, food, yes, fine. I could barely hear Russell's responses to the person, but I couldn't hear anything from the person that the bull was talking with. As soon as the bovine returned to the counter, I asked him, "Who was that?" The owner. He's stubborn and sometimes incredibly stupid. Stupid? His face contorted into a grimace as he continued to speak. If you're sick, you stay in bed and rest, not walk down the stairs for dumb reasons. Maybe it was something important. You asked him about it? He wanted to meet my quote-unquote friends. That's adorable, just like a father would. Adoptive father, yes. Awkwardly, I tried to laugh it off. I was hit by the feeling that I'd said something I shouldn't have, and it was hitting me like a truck. I didn't know. You didn't ask either. This place is a family business, and the owner is also my adoptive father. He seemed nice. Yeah. Tried my best to save the conversation, but it seemed Russell didn't want to open up, and he was pushing me away. I tapped my fingers on the table, frustrated at myself. Then I rested my head on the counter and sank myself into the seat. My childhood wasn't good, Joel. But we can tell. Wait, no. Wait, can we? Oh no. That was just my standard reaction. Fuck, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Russell. It isn't something we should talk about, that's all. I tilted my face back up and met with the cup of hot chocolate. For me. On the house. You'll like it. I stared at the shaky reflection of my face in the drink before taking a sip. warmth surely helped ease the stress that had been piled up on me. However, rather than repress my feelings, I began to vent them out like some drunk guy on a Saturday night. My father abandoned me when I was young. Mom took on both roles and raised me alone. It wasn't the best, but neither was it the worst. I wasn't trying to compare myself to him or say that my childhood could be worse than his. Rather, I was trying to express that I could understand where he might be coming from. Sometimes I wonder why. What pushes a man to leave everything behind and disappear just like that? Maybe he had a reason? I even wanted to meet him and ask him about it, but I could never dare speak about him with Mom. It's not easy to deal with betrayal. I know that myself. Then Mom started dating this guy and everything became so much worse. Reached for my cup to have another sip, but it was already empty. They say it's easier to speak when you're drinking. It seems to have been bottling up your feelings. My ears flickered at his words. That might be true, but I wasn't looking for advice right now. When did we swap our roles? I was trying to hear you out. Bartenders can't mix their personal life and job. Ability to stay neutral and impartial is an essential quality in our line of work. I felt defeated. Russell was way harder to pry into than anyone else. Not that nothing I'd say worked. If you were to ask me when I wasn't working, though, things would be different. That was a light I needed to see at the end of the tunnel. My body bounced right up from the counter. Can I? I mean, if it's not a problem, of course. Yes, as long as you keep everything that happened here a secret. I have my reasons. Oh, sure. I wondered what the reason was, but I knew that he wouldn't tell me. Maybe he didn't like to reveal that he was adopted. Honestly, that didn't matter to me, but I was still too afraid to say anything. What if my assumptions were wrong? That'd be the most embarrassing thing that I did this year yet. Someone is thinking. I snapped away from my thoughts and back to reality as I felt the big arms wrapped around me and the giant fluff brushing the side of my neck. I turned my head a little to see and found Ryan's face squished on the counter. It was as if he was trying to peek at my face without bothering me. Yeah, I'm thinking about things a little bit. Gently, I pushed away the dork and fixed my posture in the process. Today, and I didn't get to hang out with much with anyone, and I got busy with a couple assignments. What about you? How was your day? Did you manage to join Clyde? I shared with the bear almost everything that had happened. Other than the affairs with Dylan and Russell, which I promised to keep a secret. That's great to hear. It seems you had an amazing day. I know. He's my beloved. Did you save any space for little old Ryan, though? There's always space for my best friend. We don't leave anyone behind, right? Hey, that's what I say. I laughed, and so did he right afterward. Subconsciously, I leaned myself on his back. It was something that I always did. His coat was soft, cozy, and thick enough for me to comfortably sink into it. It was like it was a portable mattress of the highest quality. It tickles.
Should I go to the restroom first and give you guys some private space?
Suddenly, Liam popped in from behind us, and then out of embarrassment, I covered my face with my hat as soon as I realized how Ryan and I must have looked just now. We weren't doing anything. It's all my fault. I heard that Liam was holding back a chuckle, and the next thing I knew was that he was trying to pull me away from Ryan's back. Oh, hiya. Welcome.
I can't take you seriously if you look like that. What's with all the weird shenanigans anyway?
Joe was feeling down, so he snuggled onto my back. I don't see anything weird about it. We're just being supportive and showing affection. The way Ryan described the scene made me unable to keep a straight face. It sounded so bad that I was only getting redder and more flushed, and Liam simply continued to just try his best to wrestle me out of my hat. The little dignity I had left in me was nowhere safe, it seemed. You should drop before Joel pops like a balloon.
Alright, my bad.
I wasn't sure why, but it looked like Ryan was upset, and he was also, for some reason, trying hard to hide the fact that he was upset. Did something happen to him during his day, or maybe he was pissed because of Liam? Good afternoon, everyone. I'm now fully prepared to take on the cooking challenge. With Blake in tow, Clyde arrived at the shop carrying a few books in the crook of his arm, and the wolf was holding bags that were filled with all sorts of ingredients. The three of you, come with me inside. Everyone else, stay here. The kitchen isn't big enough for all of you and Ryan at the same time. I stood up and followed them in. I was the last to make it to the kitchen now, as I was giving Ryan one last look. Our eyes met, but the bear just turned away and placed his body on the counter as it disappeared into the back of the shop. He really said Ryan is fat. God. Once we were all in the kitchen, Russell began to talk. He was giving us instructions on every step, what to do and whatnot, but my attention was elsewhere. When the bull wasn't looking, I pulled out my phone and stepped to the side. "Are you okay?" Texted Ryan, and response came rather fast. He must have already been using his phone. "I think so. Maybe I'm tired." "I know you. What Liam said bothered you, didn't it?" "A little. He doesn't know anything, and I just don't like when people assume things about us without knowing what we went through together. I don't think there was malice behind his words. Don't let them get to you." "Yeah, I know. That's why I dropped it. Let's do something together later. What do you think?" "I'm going to help Russell cook. It'd be nice if he could stay around for a bit." "Sure, sounds good to me. Are you going to be okay then?" "I'll try, I promise." I put away my phone, and as I moved back, I met with Russell's glare, which terrified me. "I don't appreciate being ignored while explaining things you need to hear. Don't want to help leave the kitchen." He caught me, and heaven knew how long he'd been staring and waiting for me to notice. I took a nervous gulp. I knew that he was right to be upset, but checking on Ryan was more of a priority to me. "I'm sorry, it was an important message. I promise there will be no more texting." Bull turned his head and left the room. Wasn't sure what to make of it since I had been paying attention to what he'd said. "Don't worry, he's picking up something we need for the dessert. Everything's fine." Clyde's words reassured me and kicked away the idea that Russell had ditched us. "Try to be more mindful of others next time. I don't believe Russell would stop you from using your phone. Give a word and I'm sure he would have waited for you. Yeah, I can see where you guys are coming from."
What's the big deal you're making it to be? Joel doesn't like to ignore someone on purpose without a reason.
"I know that, and so do you, but Russell? He's joined us for less than 2 days, and hasn't had the time to get to know us properly yet."
People ignore me all the time, and I don't really care.
Clyde and I exchanged our worried looks. We were unsure how to tackle what the Lynx just said. "That's not a good thing, Liam. Don't internalize that as a normal response. I can hear you out if you have anything to say." I grabbed Liam's arm and plopped my head on the Lynx's shoulder. "Yeah, what did I tell you? Today's your day."
Okay, I get it. We can talk about me.
Liam shook me off and took a few steps backward. His paws were raised and made into a wall standing between us. Russell came back briefly to put the missing ingredient on the counter and, once again, disappeared. I felt Clyde's hand on my arm. It stopped me from going after the bull. The dragon probably knew what I was having in mind. "Let it cool off for now." Yo. Fuck. "Let it cool off for now. You'll find another opportunity to apologize. He probably has his own share of thinking to do as well. I guess I'll wait until we finish making the dessert." Then the dragon was pulling Liam's arm. Seems the lynx was trying to sneak away. "You're not going anywhere!"
I give up.
Quickly, Clyde summarized what I was supposed to do in our mission of making the dessert. Then we began the preparations and did the tasks that were assigned to us individually. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until a certain step of the recipe proved to be an obstacle. "Who's going to do that?" I asked as the three of us stared at the package that Russell had dropped on the counter earlier. Those harmless eggs laid neatly inside the box and somehow appeared daunting to us. Not even a single one of us dared to reach a hand out toward them. "It's easier than we think, really."
Then you do it.
"I could. What if I hit one too hard? I hate myself for wasting such good food."
Well, this whole cooking thing was Clyde's idea, right? So maybe he should be one to crack them up.
Upon hearing that the dragon was paralyzed, not even calling his name could snap him out of it. Seeing that, I then volunteered to grab the eggs, but Clyde suddenly jumped in to stop me. "No! I have to do this. Tell me what to do." He's got the reward points. Okay, so my mom usually taps him lightly on the edge of a surface, usually a sink, and I've seen her gradually increase the power if the shell doesn't break. It's better to be too weak rather than too strong. Clyde nodded and attempted to follow what I said. His face lit up as a crack appeared in the middle of the shell. "Oh, look, I got it. What do I do now?" "Now push the middle of the crack with your finger. You want to grab the shell and divide it into 2 halves. Wow." His eyes were sparkling with curiosity and happiness as he followed exactly what I said. Liam labeled what just happened as beginner's luck, though it didn't really matter to me whether or not that was true. What was important was that Clyde got to discover that he might, at the very least, have some sort of potential in cooking. At least he now knew how to crack an egg. Yeah, they're making tiramisu. Things went smoothly afterward, and as we kept going about our tasks, Clyde and I reminded Liam that we'd like to know more about him.
You really want to know?
Both of us nodded at the Lynx. Our heads were moving excitedly in unison.
It's boring, really. Nothing worthy of being remembered.
Liam appeared ready to keep going on and on about why we shouldn't listen to him talk about himself, so I had to cut him off. "Stop making excuses and just get on with it." If you find talking about yourself too broad and difficult, would you prefer it if we instead asked you questions? I'm fine with either. Ultimately, it's up to you. Clyde pulled out a notebook and a pen. The fucking... What? Clyde, I know your gay dragon ass did not readily have a notebook and pen just laying in a pocket. I know that your gay dragon ass did not have that in your pocket. That's what I'm wondering. Clyde pulled out a notebook and a pen, seemingly ready to take notes as if he was in a class, and it kind of freaked out the spotted feline.
You guys are putting me on the spot. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Let's start with your hobbies then. What do you like to do? Liam blinked at me. His gay dragon ass is prepared for anything. Liam blinked at me. Seemed my question confusing.
But you already know the answer to that.
I gave him a nod, trying to push away shyness. It's a conversation starter. Just answer it anyway. Things will go from there. He took a bit of time as he tried to phrase his thoughts. Sometimes it looked like he was about to say something, but our eager eyes were probably slowing him down.
I love to observe the reactions and the strong feelings that people give off. Horror and supernatural stuff are the best ways to evoke such feelings, and nobody's reaction is ever the same. Our days are too boring, and that's why we need something to spice them up a little. It gives me life.
The speed the dragon wrote down a scribble of our conversation. That's interesting. You seek an emotional experience that you can't normally have. It seemed the memo wasn't much appreciated, though, as Liam was yelling at the dragon immediately afterward.
When you put it like that, it makes me sound like a depressed lynx.
Apologies, that wasn't my intention. I was merely piecing together what I've collected thus far from my observation. As the dragon replied, he showed us a diagram that he'd made of the situation. Why is he fucking doing math? How the fuck do you get math from a fucking personality? Like, fucking, the bullshit is high right now. How the fuck do you get a diagram? I can't even be mad at him. I'm fucking impressed. I'm fucking impressed. As the dragon replied, he showed us a diagram that he'd made of the situation. Liam gave it a quick look before pushing the notebook back at Clyde. And then, as the spotted feline continued speaking, he opened his arms and stretched them wide as if trying to mimic something, most likely a creature. However, neither the dragon nor I could make out what it was.
It's not the scaring that excites me. It's the scenes, the sounds, the music, the atmosphere, the stories. All those, when combined, provoke one senses of dread. The worry about something that is coming, the uncertainty, the suspense, that feeling that it may or may not be, may or may not happen. The heaviness in one's chest, the discomfort, the anxiety, the feeling that their guts are on fire, and then the closure when it finally happens, and the horror that it brings. They scream, they jump, or they simply stare. Their eyes, however, widen and their bodies shake as the fear sends shivers down their spines, their selves completely engulfed in the essence of terror. I can't say that I have a deep understanding regarding such an experience, but you seem to possess a very passionate outlook and a way to convey your thoughts and feelings. I think it's nice to hear how you speak about your interests. Clyde gets it. See that, Liam? What you just said. That's what I wanted to hear. I agree with Joel. You seem pretty capable of holding a conversation and dishing out a topic of your interests. May I ask why you said earlier that it'd be boring? Often when I show my love for gruesome stuff, I either get called a weirdo, catch them talking behind my back. My family also never listens to me. All they care about is getting me to find a high-paying job so that they can eventually have me take care of them as they grow old.
That's awful. I can see now why you'd hesitate to speak about yourself. I was about to give Liam a pat on the shoulder and attempt to cheer him up, but I figured that he probably wouldn't appreciate physical contact, so I took a different approach. I don't know what's up with your family, but what they're doing is extremely toxic. You're not obligated to look after them. You're not their slave.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh?
I've lost count of how many times we've argued and how many times I've gotten grounded, all over the stupidest reasons, until I was old enough to leave. To leave them and to live on my own were probably the best decisions I've ever made.
So things are better now?
I guess I have enough money to survive. That's all I need, honestly. The freedom is nice, but it can get lonely sometimes.
Yeah, it's not something easy to deal with.
Ah, that reminds me. You live on your own, too. You know exactly what the worst thing someone who lives alone has to do is, don't you?
Making food and planning things for the day. We were immediately on the same page, sharing the same struggles as one another was surely a nice way to make our bond.
Yep, annoying as fuck. Takeout is such a real godsend.
Do you ever have any homemade food? Clyde chimed in with a positive energy. Liam and I went quiet. Neither of us was going to break it to him. Does Russell's count? I put on a fake smile as Clyde was doing a facepalm. I'm afraid to inquire about the eating habits of you two now. I could sense the dragon's disapproval.
Hey, I'm still too young to give a fuck about what I eat. Maybe remind me in 5 years or so. I make enough to afford ramen and sushi, so who cares, so long as the food is good.
I admit that properly made ramen can be delicious, but that's not the issue. Nutrition and balanced diets are vital to your body. You can't just eat the same things every day. It's not that I don't want the variety or don't enjoy the warm food made by myself. It's that there are too many things in the way. It's quite complicated.
I know, right? I have to work, go to school, and manage my money. Having to think about all those things that I do daily already tires me. At the end of the day, there's neither time nor energy left in me.
Exactly that. And living alone, cooking is just boring, as I'd be making food just for myself. There's no one's company to go with it. Interesting. Okay, I think I understand the situation better now. There was a lot of useful information. I shall make plans accordingly.
What's that supposed to mean?
I didn't like the sound of that either. Clyde was definitely scheming something. God damn it, Clyde. I think it's done. It appeared the dessert was finished for the most part. The main labor was done and the dragon was showing the result to us. Liam, however, seemed to be slightly irritated that Clyde didn't answer him, even though he'd said earlier that he didn't care about people ignoring him. It goes in the fridge now, should be ready tonight. Good thing I brought a portable refrigerator for the trip. The fuck?! Where the fuck are you storing the portable refrigerator, Clyde, in your left fucking nostril? How the fuck? Wow. Wow. I can't even be mad at you, Clyde. I can't even be mad at you. What the hell? What the actual fuck? I'm amazed. I'm amazed. It was truly a good investment.
Hello? I asked a question here.
I'm afraid I can't answer it, Liam. It's a surprise. There will be no spoilers. Don't worry, I'm sure it's nothing bad. Blake is always around to keep him in check anyway. Liam sighed, and I too was curious about what Clyde had in store for us. However, I didn't press it. Our work here was done, and it was giving us a real workout.
I'm tired. We're done, right? Let's get out. I need to sit, and a drink would be really great now.
We should clean up after ourselves first. Clyde was, once again, pulling Liam's arm for the second time. Dragon stopped the lynx from sneaking away.
Oh, yeah! I meant to do that. Completely forgot about it.
Judging by his tone, I was sure that Liam was lying, and he probably couldn't wait to leave the kitchen. It was so obvious that even the dragon sighed. Fine. You may go ahead and leave. Please tell the others that we're done so they may begin their preparation. When Lynx heard that, his face lit up. Eager to skip the cleaning duty, he was happy to oblige.
I'll do that then. Thanks.
We're gonna leave off here tonight. Clyde scares the shit out of me. Fuck. What is my fear or phobia? It's not really a proper fear or phobia, but just like stress about the future. I'm scared of the future. That's about it. Well, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.